Okay, there we go. Hello, people. Oh, I was just outside. Okay. I know I haven't been on here for a while. Kind of down in the dumps. Don't know if it was a cold. My husband says it was a cold or allergies. I think it was actually a little bit of both. My eyes are a little bit puffy due to allergies. But I am here and I have a really big soapbox today. Not much, but my soapbox thing is for Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, any retail corporation that doesn't give their employees guaranteed how many hours to have. Okay. At maybe like here, $15, $16 an hour. And you're getting less than 15 hours a day? 15 hours a week? How can a person work with that? Come on. Get this. I don't believe that welfare and food stamps is to help a person get out of a situation and back in to get them what would you say, back on their feet. Okay, that's what those two programs are designed. But when the only jobs available to you, okay, my husband worked, I would say 25 to 30 hours. It was seasonal, but they were supposed to technically hire him as a permanent employees for 20 to 30 hours a week, 35 at least. Okay, they decided, that corporation decided, well, we hired too many people. We're going to cut everybody down. But you're more likely you're going to get you'll be the first one to get rehired when we start hiring seasonal in about 3 to 4 months. Okay, that was basically working by the time he paid for gas, and this was when gas was lower than what, 440, 450. I don't know what gas is today, but anyways, he would be spending $35 a day on gas going back and forth. Now, in order to get out here where we live, you're going to have a truck. Or if you have a car, it has to be up higher and it has to be front traction or whatever. Kind of like a 4-wheel drive, but kind of not, to get on some of these roads. Okay, we have a truck, 4x4. So he was making probably an extra $50 or $60 on top of like this week working for one of the dollar stores. Okay, he has probably a couple of hours, just barely a couple of hours extra going to be on his paycheck. Not this week, but because they're a week behind. The following week. With that paycheck, he only made $15 to $20 less than traveling. And this is by the time he gets gas, going back and forth from someplace decent. Okay. But at least we had evenings together. He, there was times that he can work overtime, and they didn't have a problem with it. Okay. Here, everyone's fighting to get hours all the time. And I've worked retail, okay? So don't get me wrong. I worked retail. They want you to work all these different weird hours all the time. But we also had a manager that actually figured out things, because there was a group of people that did better jobs in the morning, and a group that rather work in the middle of the day, and then a group that worked at night. And she would schedule us for those. And I mean, with me, I didn't like going one day night, one day during the day, back and forth, back and forth. I rather be working in the mornings and everything. But in retail, I also got 30 plus hours, 30 to 40 hours. So, because that corporation actually guaranteed those hours to me. Okay, when you got hired, they told you what the hours would be. Okay. And my husband actually applied for a job, had an interview, and the two positions that they had left in there, they said that they couldn't guarantee the hours. And I go, excuse me, yeah, they do. That's the manager's thing of saying that she doesn't want to give you any set hours, because she wants to use you as much as she wants or as little as she wants. I said, that's their corporate policy. He goes, really? And I go, yeah. And he actually called, I think they called him, and he called them back, HR, because she wanted to know which position that he wanted. And I had him, I said, you ask her. You ask HR if that's the policy. And she said, yeah, that is the company's policy, that they have to give you a set many hours for that position. Whether it's 15 hours a week, 20 hours a week, 30 hours. And he goes, well, if I pick this, that manager over there said that she wasn't going to do that. How come? Well, we just let her do that, because that works well for her. Tim goes, no, thank you. If I don't get a guaranteed so many hours, no. But anyways, that's not what the point is. The point is that here, when he got hired on, they said you might work one evening, you might work no Sundays, because he says if I get hired, I don't want to work Sundays, because we go to church. And she goes, okay. He went in to help once after church, and she started putting him on Sundays. And the third Sunday, I said, no. I said, definitely. I said, you're calling on that Sunday. You're calling her today, because he just got the thing. And he told her the second Sunday that he had to work, he says, I go to church on Sundays. And that was the day that I actually asked off to go to church. And she goes, I'll take care of it. Well, the following Sunday comes and he's got it. And I told him, I said, you're texting her, you calling her right now. And you remind her that you're not working this Sunday and you will not be there at work this Sunday. He did. And she goes, well, how did you know that that was there? It's, she used the excuse of the system generates the schedule and then she has to go in and change it. No, you give the schedule guidelines. If a person requests that day off every week, you could go in and tell it not to do that one. I do have a theory about there's one gal there that thinks that she's like my best friend. I met her once, but I've seen her a couple times because she started going to Bible study. And her and her husband's troublemakers, and sorry to say, but she is. They are. Found out that her husband shouldn't even be stepping foot in our church because he was kicked out of our church for good years ago. Over about 4 or 5 years ago for something that he could have got very in trouble with. But we won't get in there. But my thing in here is I know this woman because she started talking to me one day at Bible study. And she goes, I have Wednesdays and Thursdays off. And she said something about wanting to come to Bible study since we started Tuesday. She wanted to have Tuesdays and Wednesdays off. And the only days that Tim had to work late was like on a Tuesday. And then he'd go in on Wednesday morning so we could go Wednesday. Was it Tuesday? No, he worked Wednesday during the day because we were still going to both Bible studies. That's what it was. He'd go in and work on those days during the day. Well, now she's got Tuesdays and Wednesdays off, and he has to pull her shift at night. See, she's a little troublemaker. But that's my little thing on that. But anyways, that ain't the point. My point is, getting back to my point, yeah, it's like squirrel. Oh, wild horses. Squirrel. Oh, shiny. But anyways, getting back to my point is you can schedule. You always have a group that likes mid-shift. You have a group that likes during the day. You have groups that works at night. Okay? And then you have a group that no matter what you do, people are going to complain about wherever you put them. And then you have this other group, even though they rather work one shift than the other, they're still going to work their butt offs. That's my husband. Okay. So we might end up, because he's supposed to call. I'm going to remind him before he leaves work. I'm going to have a little text to him or call him. Remind him to call because he put in a resume for a goldsmith in Arizona. More money. And the only time that he'll be working in the evenings is basically during Christmas time. From like right after Thanksgiving till Christmas. Okay. but it's in another state. Like I said, it's in Arizona instead of Nevada. And we talked about it. We found out a couple of things, like certain things they're going to tax us on. And I said, well, we'll just stay as a resident in here in Nevada, because we'll probably end up moving our trailer back to the property, coming on long weekends when he has vacation to our property here throughout the year. And we'll be basically there. So I don't care. It's still the desert. Actually, the desert there, the mountains out where we're going is beautiful. And I also like the idea that the area that the job's at, that at night, all the lights have to be off by a certain time. Because it's light pollution they want everybody to be able to go out and stargaze without the lights on. More and more people, and people say, well, it's California people. And I think they're about right, because our neighbor here, he leaves his porch light on all night. Even though he has lights where if an animal comes or someone walks up, it'll automatically turn on. Okay. I don't mind those lights. But anyways. But it's getting back to the small retail stores that is actually a big corporation. They don't look at you as an individual. They look at you as to, let's work your ass off. We're not going to give you any hours. We're going to set your schedule where you can't even have another job. And when you talk about getting another job, we're going to switch your schedules again to make it harder for you to get another job. We want you to be stuck here. And most people quit. The short, they're there only for a very short time. And a lot of these people, they go to another dead-end job that does the same thing after they leave, and they just keep going and going until they get tired of it. And I was telling my husband, I said, I could deal with you having longer hours during Christmas time. I said, but in reality, you can't be at a job like this. They want you to focus on them as your life. I said, is that fair to you? Pretty much what I told him. And he goes, no. He goes, that's not fair to either one of us. And I said, so why are you killing yourself over this $15, $16 an hour job that you're only working maybe anywhere from 2 to 4 hours a day? I said, you continue, and I'm thinking to myself, if he continues doing this, we're going to be so damn skinny in a year's time and starving that he won't be able to. People need to start looking, and people needs to start putting their foot down. And this is the way I'm looking at it, being as old as I am and being in a corporate retail store. If everyone puts their foot down and says, I want to work on these days, during these hours, and I don't care how you schedule me, and I need this many hours to make it at the pay that you're going to give me. I know he would work 40 hours for this job. He's actually a workaholic. My husband is. Which is fine. I don't care. You know, but they're working his ass to death for a very short time, and it's slowly going to kill him because he's not used to this. You know, he says he likes the job. He likes the people that he works with, except for the one person that I was talking about earlier that is now got Tuesdays and Wednesdays off. And we've seen the evil in her husband already. Even the pastor has seen it, the evil in him. But that's besides the point. So that's where we're at today. Things are probably gonna, I don't know, change. My husband's even thinking about just going ahead and moving there. Just packing up what little money that we have and go. But I'm trying to do it in a right way where he actually has a job to go to. Like he's always done. Find the job. Move. So we just quit and moved down here, you know. Wasted all that money just because of lovely. I won't get into that. I forgave him. Have I forgotten? I'm trying to I forgave him, but I have not forgotten, and I need to learn to forget what he has done. But anyways, so if you guys have ever been paying attention to Silver Springs, Nevada, we had a nice 5.7 earthquake over a week ago. Yeah. It was on the 13th. And today is the 23rd. So basically 10 days ago. And we've had, since then, we've had a whole bunch of little tremors all the way up to 2. The high 2 were just under 3. And then we'd get a couple 3s. Then it'd come down. Well, we've had, in the last week, this week, we've had 3 4-pointers here. And it's actually a new fault that basically popped up that they didn't have a clue on. So they haven't named it. It's 2 miles away from me. And I'd rather be here during an earthquake than a tornado. I've been when a tornado has hit on the Oregon coast, fairly close to us. Been in a tornado, I think, once when I was younger, when one touched down close in Colorado, I believe I remember. Been in hurricane winds, hurricanes, typhoons, being out on the coast. You know, they're saying, oh, a big tropical storm, and then once it hits inland and on the coast, the day after they go, oh, it was a hurricane. You know, been in a tropical storm where gust winds was about 70 miles per hour. The gust winds were The normal winds were above 50, 55, I think, somewhere along there. And it lasted about 7 days. No electricity, no nothing. Shut down everything for a week. So, you know, I've been in all of these things, and I'd rather be in an area with earthquakes right now than back east with the tornadoes. I'm sorry, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. You know how I feel about it. Earthquakes aren't, I mean, the ground shakes. I know you get warnings, that there's a tornado that might hit. You get these warnings. But they really don't know, they could say a tornado is coming this way, but they don't know how far it's going to come this way. I'm in the line of the tornado. They don't know. It might be stop a mile before it gets to my house. They don't know that. They don't know if a tornado is going to all of a sudden go veer off to the left or veer off to the right all of a sudden. So my biggest thing is why is everybody so scared of an earthquake? It can happen anywhere. And if you download an earthquake app, you can see millions of earthquakes happen every day throughout the whole land. Every place that has land has some type of earthquake. Even underneath the sea or ocean. There's faults all over the place. But I'm doing fine. Everybody is fine. We're all surviving. There's been a picture out. It's done AI about Silver Springs, Nevada, where it's opened up the freeway, the main road. I think it's trying to show it's 95, where it's like this. No, all of our roads are fine. Sorry. You could tell that it's AI. Someone posted on Facebook. Oh, we heard this part of the road is closed. We all came back and said, number one, those are stick buildings. In the area that it shows, it's not stick buildings. And no, the road does not look like that. Someone took a picture of it. Even the color of the houses, they were kind of similar, but not. So it's weird. But anyways, I don't know. Ever since the earthquake, my internet's been weird. Everything's been weird lately. But that's okay. Is there anything else? No. I just wish that I'd get more people on this channel to have live interactions. I've done the videos. I've done now the lives. I've done my other channel. I can't really do AI on that because the AI bots, YouTube has AI bots that looks at everything that comes across like this. They'll come across and they'll look at this. And they can say, oh, it's AI generated. And they'll close down your account. So I can't really do too much AI on the other channel. So that has slowed me down. I've been sick. like I said, with allergies really bad and everything else for the other channel. But if you watch this, hit a like, subscribe, tell me what, put a hi in the comments. I don't care. I'd rather have you put something in the comments. Hey, your channel would be great if you do this. Your channel would be great if you do this. Give me some suggestions. If you watch this, give me some suggestions. Okay, that's it for today. I love you all. Whoever's watching this, have a great week. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you on the other side.